and welcome. My name is Saskia Hoffmann. I've been in cybersecurity for about 10 years and I've held various roles from analyst to engineer to security operations manager. And today, me and my friend Sharon will talk about emotional intelligence. And now she'll introduce herself.
Thank you, Saskia. Hi, everyone. Thanks for attending this session. I'm Sharon Pithawalla. I have been a career identity and access person in cybersecurity for the last 14 years. I've held roles ranging from consultant to manager to director, and I currently work for Capital One within their cyber team. And we are here to talk about a topic today that is really near and dear to our hearts. Emotional intelligence and leadership in cybersecurity. Um, I'm sure at some point in your life, each and every one of you must have encountered a leader who had more faith in you than you had in yourself at that point in time. And we are all very thankful to those people for giving us the chance to be where we are at today. Especially in security. Security is a team sport, and each and every player in a security team is tasked to lead without authority. So, when we talk about leadership today, it's not only applicable if you are a people leader, but it is applicable to everybody in the cybersecurity realm. Essentially, when we talk about security, effective leadership, we are going to talk about the key skills that are required, understanding the concepts, how it applies in the cybersecurity domain, and the practical implementations of how you can get it into practice immediately. Moving on. So, we'll start by talking about the five main pillars of emotional intelligence on which great leadership rests. The first pillar is self awareness. We need to recognize our own emotions and their impact. The second pillar, self regulation. It's all about controlling and redirecting your disruptive emotions and impulses. Motivation. It's your ability to compel yourself and other people to set and achieve goals and objectives. Empathy. Considering and understanding other people's feelings, especially while making decisions in critical situations. And finally, social skills. Managing relationships is a huge part of being in a cybersecurity team. Let's dive deeper into each one of these and how they relate to security. So, the first one, self awareness, our inner compass. Self awareness goes beyond just recognizing our emotions. It is really about understanding how they affect our decisions, especially during high pressure situations. It comes into the picture in cybersecurity for bias detection. When we recognize our own biases, we can help in being objective during threat assessments, making more clear decisions. Effective communication. Knowing our own communication style can help us communicate more clearly with our teams and stakeholders. Continuous improvement. By understanding our strengths and limitations, we can focus on areas that we know we lack in, and we can grow and train ourselves. Reflective delegation. Being aware of areas where we lack proficiency actually gives us the opportunity to bring in team members who complement our skill set and effectively delegate tasks out, hence improving overall team performance. Next slide, please. So we don't want to be seen as the kid in the picture. So self-regulation is very important, especially in times of chaos, maintaining composure. In our ever-evolving and unpredictable realm of cybersecurity, self-regulation isn't really just a personal skill, but it is a strategic tool. The places where it really applies in cybersecurity, staying calm and composed during crisis, avoiding impulsive, risky actions, and adhering to predefined security policies. It is easy to say, but it can be really hard in the moment when there is an incident happening and your first impulse is to act on something that is right in front of you. Influence and persuasion. It really helps you influence and persuade stakeholders and get them on board when they see that you have your emotions under regulation and control, and hence you can effectively implement new security initiatives or policy changes. It helps create a culture of trust and stability within the team. Essentially, you are leading by example when you are holding yourself in calm composure in a moment of crisis. The team will follow your lead, and ultimately, it helps come up with a strong, successful long term strategy for both your team and stakeholders. Motivation. Motivation is the silent engine behind every successful cybersecurity initiative. It's not just about what we do, but the passion and persistence with which we do it. The places where it really applies in cybersecurity, proactive defense. When a team is motivated, they are more likely to seek proactive defense strategies, address vulnerabilities before they are exploited. They are motivated to continuously learn in and keep themselves updated in the ever evolving cybersecurity landscape. They are also, the team is more motivated to work together in a collaborative environment, sharing knowledge, tools, and strategies, and hence building an overall robust defense ecosystem. Next slide, please. Empathy. Empathy is not always just about being nice. It is a strategic asset in the cybersecurity realm. It impacts everything from user experiences, team dynamics to stakeholder communication. Understanding how your end users feel about using various security tools helps you come up with a more user-centric design, and a better designed security product ecosystem for your organization. Incident communications. Usually, in times of an incident where the root cause is not clear, we tend to look for a specific reason and assign blame. But that's not always the best way to go about it. Holding meetings such as a blameless postmortem, where the teams get together and talk about what went wrong and how they can avoid such a failure in the future, is a good tool to have in your tool chest. Team dynamics. An empathic leader ensures that team members feel understood and valued, leading to higher morale and productivity. And ultimately, it helps in building stakeholder trust and relationships by displaying your empathy and being empathic towards stakeholders, their day-to-day challenges helps foster a better stakeholder ecosystem, hence building a strong partnerships across the board. Next slide. Finally, social skills. Social skills are not just about getting along. In the cybersecurity realm, they play a critical, pivotal role in driving a unified action, clear communication, and proactive collaboration. It helps facilitate cross team collaboration to enhance defense strategies, come up with response plans, work together to build a collaborative defense ecosystem. Clear communication helps in articulating complex cybersecurity threats and needs to non technical business stakeholders. Conflict resolutions, especially in high stress environments such as during a breach, become a key skill to have, so that we are not focusing on the wrong thing at the wrong time, but instead working together towards a common solution. And finally, influencing change. If if you have good social skills and an understanding of the environment around you, you are able to advocate for the necessary resources, tools, policies, and strengthen your cybersecurity posture overall. With this, I will hand it over to my friend Saskia to talk about some practical tips and how you can start applying these practices in your day to day life.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sharon, for giving us the background information here on how all these five pillars kind of have the leadership lying on top of them. So what can you do today? You can be more authentic and more vulnerable. I'm sure you've all heard it at some point or another from your boss, from someone else, like be your authentic self. But how are you authentic? Well, I picked this little girl here to show like just make fun, be happy, and share a little bit about yourself. And don't don't think about how people might judge you, because I've often experienced in my life, if I've been more vulnerable, if I've shared like I had a horrible day before and I'm just not feeling up to par, that other people might actually come back to me and be like, hey, it's so good to hear that you're not the perfect person either, and that you also have bad days. And I had a bad day the other day, and it's just, it starts to build trust. So express what you're thinking. Don't be afraid of sharing. And sometimes it can be as easy as just apologizing when you're wrong. And it's always hard to do that, but it can really build these trusting relationships, and you become way more authentic and vulnerable. Um, The other thing that you can do is you can practice active listening. Active listening is something that we've probably all heard before somewhere. You need to be very active in your listening. But how are you active when you're actually listening? Well, one thing is you want to take in the emotions of the other person. So look at what they are saying, but also how they are saying it, and like how they move, how they like, are they smiling while they are saying it? Are they making a sad face? Pay attention. So monitor their feelings, and also monitor yourself. Like, how are you responding to it? Like, try to be observant of like how you're responding to bad news in some way. Um, so how do you do that in a situation where you're having a one-on-one? Well, you can face the speaker and make direct eye contact, but not everyone is comfortable with that. So kind of see if they look away. And so maybe there is an opportunity to, instead of having the one-on-one face-to-face, which is always confrontal, to like go on a walk and have the one-on-one outside in fresh air. So just try to find a way that makes the other person as comfortable as possible, and without making yourself uncomfortable. Other things you can do is mirror their feelings. There have been a lot of studies around like summarizing what you just heard back to the person, but that's actually found to not be as valuable. What you actually want is you want to understand and reflect back to them what their feelings are, and try to use the exact same words, because otherwise they might not feel as clear, or they might feel misunderstood. So what else can you do? Ask more questions. And yes, we all are asking questions all day long. We're in cybersecurity. We have so many questions. But you really want to ask questions even when you think you have no more questions, because there might still be something there that you haven't quite captured. So that is how you practice active listening. The next slide is about mindfulness. During COVID, I learned to meditate. It really helped me stay focused and clear because I no longer had the commute. And the commute for me was always the break in work. And now working from home, it was really hard because I had to, I didn't have this break between work and home and everything. And so I started meditating at the beginning and at the end of work, so to kind of get me in the right mind frame. And this can really help across your day, being mindful about like how you respond, getting into the right mindset, feeling. uh, Again, emotional intelligence is a lot about feeling. Like, how can you be present and focused and tuned into other people? And this really helps. Another thing that I've learned along the way is don't reply to hostile emails immediately. We've all probably been in similar situations where a team is not happy that you make them extra work, and it just gets frustrating for them, and they come up with an email that's really hits a button on you. Take a breath. Don't reply right now. Reply an hour later. Or you can write the email now and then wait to send it and then reread it an hour later and see what it comes back with, how you would feel receiving the email that you are about to send out. And these little things just keep you more grounded and more mindful um, to the overall situation. Another opportunity to practice mindfulness is making it a team activity. There are some apps out there that allow you to have a whole 5-minute meditation session with your team. Try it, suggest it, see where it goes. There is really nothing you can lose by doing something like that. The next thing you can do right now is proactive relationship building. And when I say proactive relationship building, is a lot of security teams I've worked with would only start building relationships with teams when something went wrong. Like they didn't have a relationship with the network team unless you were in an incident situation. But you do want to be proactive in that. And so make it your mission, like once a week, go out, make a new work friend. And it can be like, it doesn't have to be that you go bowling with them in the evening, but it's just something like sitting at a new table at lunch if you go out, or create a donut channel. I'm not sure if you use Slack, there is an app called Donut, which matches you with random other people in the company. And you get completely new perspectives, but also you can bring your cybersecurity mission to everyone. Another option is doing an Ask Me Anything channel where anyone in the company can ask about security topics and start a conversation about it. And eventually that can lead into security champions programs, which some of you might be familiar with. That means, so with security champions programs, you're trying to get people from different teams, like from engineering teams or from HR, from anywhere, who are already kind of interested in security, to join a session like maybe once a month where you hold a presentation about some security topic and you kind of draw them in and explain a lot of what's going on in the world of cybersecurity to them. And eventually you can turn them into these trusted allies, and they will be able to take the security message that you drafted back to their teams. They will become the point of contact for their team in security questions, and they know exactly who to go to, because I've often heard from teams like, we don't know who security is, what they do. They are the ones that block all the traffic. And we're in this space where you can't really automate it all away. Another option, that's why we have the donuts here, bring donuts before crisis. And that's just really a little bit of a joke. But if you have a team like the IT team, the help desk team especially, you're rolling out a new security product, and it's bound to cause some types of problems. So before you hit the button, bring donuts, sit with them, ask them if you can join them for that time to help them directly, instead of like having them like file a security ticket with you if they get any extra problems that day. So just try to be proactive, stop by before a crisis happens, really. The next slide is about inspiration. And you can probably hear I'm very passionate about security, and I'm always trying to bring it to everyone in the company. But what you really want to do is ensure you have a vision that's not only understood within your team, but across all stakeholders. And security is really this cross-functional function where everyone needs to play nice together. And and so bringing your vision, might it be we're the team of yes, we're no longer blocking everything, or explaining carefully like, hey, we have this new initiative around zero trust and it will make your life better. Like, communicate that out to everyone and find the right ways to communicate it and inspire people this way. It also helps to have your values ready to go, like be it honesty, creativity, passion, all these, like live them and don't make them just empty words that someone in HR came up with. Another thing is you can inspire people by making learning a priority. And what do I mean by that is that you want to always encourage learning. So if someone asks you a question about a security thing in their realm, ask questions back. Like, ask them about what their job is and how that goes. Again, it kind of goes into the relationship building, but it's also interesting to learn new things about the company, because we as security practitioners, we really need to understand all sides of the business. And only then, when we have these relationships, we can be seen as a voice of reason. All right. And the last one, I think, is this the last one? Sorry. The recognition. It's always good to recognize other people and their impact in the company. And this goes for everyone. This is not only for managers to understand how you recognize your own team. You also want to recognize all the cross-functional teams. And really finding the right incentives is super important here. And you only find that out if you have regular conversations with other teams and team leaders. And even as an IC, you can go out and maybe someone in IT engineering helped you set up a new, or was troubleshooting something together with you, and he did a really good job helping you. You could just go and have send the feedback to their manager. And this does two things. It does one thing: the manager now knows that this person is doing a great job, but also the manager now knows you, which will then reflect well on both of you. Okay, so those are just a tiny bit of the experience I've had over the years, but there are obviously quite a few long-term strategies. You do want to get organizational commitment. So bring HR into the boat, bring your leadership into the boat, bring everyone you can into the boat, and spread the message of the importance of emotional intelligence, because you can train some of this. This is not something you need to wait for to happen, or something you just have or don't have. No, there's actually training and development plans. And I think it's really important to learn more about it, and becoming more self-aware, understand when you're reacting to something, to take a deep breath and think about it before you react. Like all these little things can be trained. And so get everyone on board, get the training set up, and it really will take a cultural shift, and cultural shifts take years. Like anything I'm saying is not something you can do immediately. It will take time, but it will really shift the culture eventually. And I've seen that at different companies. And if you put a focus on the emotional intelligence also in hiring and in promotion, like all of that will eventually shift the culture. It is a bit hard to measure the impact, but that's kind of where you want to get HR involved, so you can do the voice of the employee questionnaires and things like that. So those are the long-term strategies. Well, everything has challenges, obviously. And I know that a lot of security teams at one point or another were in this tiny little corner, maybe under IT, and weren't recognized or understood. But we really need to come out of that corner, and we can do that with data-driven decisions, right? We're trying to measure risk, we're trying to measure vulnerabilities, we're trying to measure everything. And so it's not always comfortable for all of us to become more about emotions than data-driven decisions. So there needs to be a shift there, and it's not as easy. It's also not easy if you're the only one that's trying to practice emotional intelligence leadership and everyone else is not on board with it, then you're risking burnout. And it's also, there's another level to that. Here in the US, especially in the Silicon Valley, it's so international, so many different cultures clash together. So you need to be extra observant of which culture like does what in which situation. So again, go to your HR team and say, hey, we have this super diverse community. Can we get training for this? And help me measure that this is successful. So again, skepticism, you will get skepticism, and people will be like, oh, why is this a thing now? It wasn't 30 years ago. Well, we're evolving, security is constantly evolving, and if we don't start it, nobody will. So closing thoughts. Let's see. We talked about what emotional intelligence is. Emotional intelligence is resting on 5 pillars. It's the self-awareness, the self-regulation, the empathy, the motivation, and the social skills. But what it all comes down to is really building trusting relationships. You're trying to build relationships with this that are lasting, because there will be crisis coming. It is still cybersecurity, and in that moment, you want to be able to rely on security leaders that have the relationships across the board, so you can trust others to help you out. So we gave you quite a few tips on how you can start it with active listening, proactive relationship building, and so on. what do you want to do from here? Well, kind of start assessing how your emotional intelligence levels are. Try to talk to HR and see what they say, if there is interest there. Start integrating it in your own hiring practices. Ask questions around it. That will be helpful, and really commit to making cybersecurity more emotional intelligent. So thank you so much for your attention so far. And we invite you to ask any questions or comments now.
Saskia, we did have a comment in the chat from Nancy. She found the points really interesting and useful. So thank you, Nancy. And we also have some resources in at the end of the deck, and I believe these are going to be shared out after the session. So you guys are free to check out those links. Some of them have activities that can be done with your team to kind of gauge and build that connection, to build the empathy. There's some exercises that actually talk about being in each other's shoes. So that is going to be something that you can immediately start using. Please ask us any questions that you have, or if you would like to share something with us or with the audience about how, in your personal experience, an empathic leader made a difference, or how you, as an empathic leader made a difference in somebody's life. We would love to hear about that. Deborah, yes, that is really, really lucky. Deborah says she's been lucky to work with great leadership who leads with a heart. I think that is so important because ultimately you want to be motivated enough to go and work for the person that is, in your leadership org, and it really makes a difference working with someone who actually cares. Thanks for sharing, Deborah. That's a good question. Deborah says it can also be not so great when you are the only person who is utilizing and promoting emotional intelligence. And she wants to know if we have any tips to try and instigate some change on a tough team or environment like that. Saskia, I see you're smiling. Do you want to share some tips?
I mean, cultural shifts are difficult. It's you don't want to take that on alone. If you're constantly working against other teams that are working completely different, it can be very difficult. I've worked once in a company that was very much top-down management, and my work was completely bottom-up. And so I was constantly butting heads with other team members. It's not easy to survive in that, and you want to make sure you're doing self-care here, because otherwise it can really impact your health, your spirits, everything. It took me a while to realize that, and I eventually got out of this company. But From what I hear now, they have actually turned around, and it took them years to turn around. So try to find allies that are thinking similarly, and if you can't do it, get out, is all I can say. Um, it's not easy, but fighting the good fight is always appreciated. And again, you can kind of, when the next time you're hiring someone, or like, look for these little things, how they say they manage, depending on what your level is, like, look for little indicators there, and find these allies across the company, because I know they are there. It's just not as easy to find them sometimes.
That's great point, Saskia. I also wanted to add that I have been in a situation where I essentially had taken over a very demoralized team during mass layoffs. And that team had gone through five different leaders in the past year. And essentially, they were at a point where they didn't really care, and they were already looking out for jobs. And that is, it's tough to inspire people when they are in such a negative mind space. But I think what I found effective in influencing such a tough situation or a tough crowd is first trying to understand where they are coming from, because at the core, nobody really wants to be in a in a non-cooperative situation, right? There is something that must have led them to become cynical about the situation they are in. So getting to the root cause of their journey and their experience, on a one-on-one basis, right? You connect with each team member, try and understand their story, and figure out what motivates them, what are they lacking, what are their pain points. And then as a leader, as a manager, if you can help remove some of the roadblocks, elevate them in certain positions that highlight their strengths, um, essentially bring them to the forefront if they have been in the background, that helps build that trust and motivation. And it helps break down the barriers, right? Even in a tough team or a tough environment, when the people see you're genuinely trying to reach out and you're caring for their well-being, and you're not just focused on metrics, or you're not just out to point fingers or get them, throw them under the bus, but they know you are there shielding them from the other things that are going on, they will open up, and that will start. It takes time, but the culture will definitely start to slowly change. Hopefully that answers your question, Deborah. There's a few more comments that have come in. I'm loving all the engagement. Melissa says, "Love managers who create safe spaces where we can talk about mistakes and lessons learned, and be authentic." Yes, totally. I think that is so important. And when you do create that kind of a safe space, you should mean it. It shouldn't just be, okay, yeah, we had the safe space, but hey, I know what you did. So it's very important to provide that space as a leader. And even as a member of a team, I think sometimes, and as we said earlier, it's when we talk about leadership, it's everybody kind of contributing to that culture. So if that doesn't exist in your current team, you can actually have a discussion with the authoritative leader who can actually make that happen and create that kind of a space, safe space for him.
All right. At the end of this, I don't really see many more questions, so I would suggest we do a quick poll, because I kind of want to know what everyone thinks. What is the most important pillar here? And I'm just going to launch the poll and see how that goes. Can everyone see the poll? Hopefully.
I can see the poll, Saskia. I responded. So I'm hoping others can.
Let's see. Okay, we got 2 votes. 3. I'm going to wait a couple more minutes to see what comes out of this. There's one really good response. Find sponsors. Work to network within the senior women of your org. Yes. Also, it doesn't always have to be only women, but you can also have male sponsors. But I do think that's a very, very good thing to look out for. Finding allies, right? Finding sponsors, finding someone who has a similar mindset. But you always only find those people if you go out and talk to people. If you're like not afraid to walk up to someone and tell them, "Hey, you have a really nice purse." I once started talking to a VP randomly because I really, really loved their purse, and I just had to tell it to them. So she and I became friends that way, and just being able to do a little compliment here or do something there really helps forging these little relationships. And I think one of the things I said, like, make it your mission to do it like once a week, to just talk to someone new and find someone. So that way you can identify these people. Okay, shall we take a look at the polls? Oh, let's see, let's give it another minute. Although it looks like there is definitely a winner here. Well, sorry, I'm switching back and forth between. Oh yeah, that's also good. Yeah, a woman's ERG. Yeah, those are also good resources. Definitely goes back to the networking aspect. But yeah, sometimes it's just not going to work out. So let's see. The polls say I'm going to close it, and we're probably going to see the results. Not sure if everyone can see the results, or we haven't tested this portion.
I think it says processing poll
Yeah,
results.
yeah.
So once it is done, it may just pop up. Oh, I think there's a button
Oh,
there.
present
Present.
results. Yes. Okay.
Oops.
Does it work? I'm
I
not
don't
sure.
see.
Huh. Strange.
Well, we can just talk about it.
Yes. So what we're seeing is 54% were for self-awareness, second place was empathy, and then self-regulation, motivation, and social skills all came in as third place. Well, come on. This was a trick question. They're all important. I don't think one is more important than the other. Self-awareness really helps you, is looking inside of yourself. Self-regulation is like also looking inside, but on your actions. Then empathy is like looking at others and seeing their emotions. And then the social skills goes back towards the how do I act with other people? So how do I act with myself? How do I act with other people? It kind of it's a combination, and you need to really use all of them to You might be better at one than another, but um, I think there are some tests out there that help you understand which ones are which ones you're lacking more, and we'll put that in the notes of the presentation at the end. Wait, oh no, I lost Sharon. The suspense is killing me. Ah, yes. So I think we're kind of at the end of our session. Any further questions, or what do you think about the results? Do they make sense? Yes. Thank you, Lisa. Ah,
Sorry, guys, my laptop died. I'm back.
yeah. So I was saying all of them are important. They all look at a different portion and a different relationship, a relationship with yourself and relationship with others. And yeah, starting today, go ahead and start practicing and honing those skills of emotional intelligence. And I think we're
Uh, I see a really good comment in the chat from Deborah. She shared a tip about when you're interviewing, potentially seeking out the qualities in your interviewers and potential employers. She said she asks the interviewers questions on how they calibrate and how they help their teams achieve their full potential. I think that's a great question to ask in an interview. It will really help you gauge how vested the leader is. Thanks for sharing that, Deborah.
oh,
Are there any other questions in the chats?
I think
Saskia?
Sonu would like to speak. Let's see if that works.
How do we do that?
I have no idea. I thought I did.
Uh, are you able to unmute and speak?
I I cannot see Sonu anymore.
Oh, I'm not sure if the session allows for that.
Huh. Sorry, this is a new system. um, yeah. Um, again, I think we're at the end of the session here.
Yeah, we have 6 minutes remaining. We'll keep it open. Did you want to do the dress, Saskia? See what
We can. We
people's
can.
perspectives are.
Yes, we can. Let me give me 1 second. Um, Sharon, do you want to speak to it?
I'm creating a poll with the
Oh,
responses. So
yes.
so I'm not sure if you guys have seen this before. It was this whole internet trend last year of what color is the dress, and some people saw it as one thing and another other set of people saw it as another. And ultimately, no group was wrong because it really depends on how your eyes and brain perceive color. And it also depends on the kind of environment the picture is set in. So we wanted to do this fun little poll and see how many people see it as what color. So I've launched it. Can you guys see the poll? Saskia, did you see the poll pop up?
Yes, it popped up. I voted. And I see we already have 7 votes.
Oh, nice. That's interesting. We are getting both the sides.
Yeah, I mean, you know what I was saying. Because when we tested this, I was absolutely
Mm-hmm.
sure it was blue and black because I'd always seen blue and black. But then apparently I looked at like too much of a white screen or something, and now it's white and gold. And like it switched for me. It was super weird because before that I was always in the blue black team.
Mm-hmm.
And it's interesting how that can switch around.
Yep. Yep. It really gives you, a practical kind of shot of how different people actually see the same thing differently. It's amazing. And how you won't believe each other, right? Like I think that happened to us.
Yes.
Like I could not see it as blue and black. I just couldn't. And you could see it as white and gold.
Well, what did we come up with? Do we
Should we
want
give
to
them
share?
30 seconds more?
Yes, 13 seconds more. But I think the important part here is not really what you're seeing, but trying to understand how someone else might see something different and listen to them, like say like, oh yeah, this is why, and this is, and if they are very emotional about it, find a different word to say, like, oh yeah, I think you might be right, and here are the things, here's why I think it is this, but I can also see your perspective, and really it comes down to the conversation.
It does. It really does.
I
And it's
do
hard
want to.
sometimes. Yeah.
Okay, let's close the
All right.
poll.
Close the poll.
Yeah, and oh, it's
Let's try.
processing results forever.
Let's see if it
Let's.
works this time. Oh,
Oh,
there, it worked.
it worked. Yes. Now
White
I have
and gold
questions.
wins. Other. I really want to know whoever said other, can you type what you saw? I'm very curious to see what you saw. But yeah, I think this was fun. I had fun presenting about this topic. I hope
Yes.
everyone found it useful.
Yes. And I want to read off what Lisa wrote because I think this is perfect, a perfect ending quote. Our interpretation of reality is modified from our life experiences. No one has the same reality. It's all slightly skewed. And that is why we all need to listen to others before we react.
That's
Except
awesome.
you're all wrong and it's blue and black. I love that comment. That's fantastic. I think this is a great way to end our session here. Um, I appreciate everyone showing up and talking with us today. I hope you enjoyed this session, and this will probably be uploaded later on. So thank you so much.
Thank you all. Thanks for attending.